Fiona Byrne.
Hello. Bruce, how are you?
You're our semi-regular.
We haven't seen you since the old address.
Well, I haven't seen you since before the Logies, actually. It's been a little while since I was in here.
So what's been happening in the world of television?
Well, there's been lots happening, actually. I wanted to talk to you both about reality TV, because since I've been here, it seems like reality TV has become, well, it's everywhere. Absolutely everywhere.
Is there too much of it?
Well, it's going to... no, I don't think there's too much of it, but I think it's going to be very interesting as to whether or not people want to see what's coming up in the next few months on the various stations. First of all, Channel 10 is going to be launching a show called Being Lara Bingle, which is based on a Sydney model. Lara Bingle, that's going to start on the 7th of June.
And there's Bryn.
And Bryn Edelson, our very own Melbourne Bryn Edelson. She's going to be having her own reality TV show on Channel 7, and that's coming up in the next few months. And I just was very curious, because I thought you two are my TV friends. I would like to know whether either of you would watch either of those shows.
No, I don't think I would. But suffice to say, the first of the reality was the Big Brother type, wasn't it?
Yeah, yes.
Hidden in the crevices behind the plaster, eavesdropping, like Survivor. Remember that?
I remember Survivor. I actually still do like Survivor.
Yeah.
I think Survivor's a really fun show.
Yeah. But now do we call it Australia's Got Talent, MasterChef? Are they the reality
Dancing with the Stars?
Yeah.
I think that's reality.
The X Factor, The Voice.
Oh, I love The Voice. Are you watching The Voice?
Well, we don't, because we're on air.
On tape. You tape it.
But Australia is loving it.
So good. It's such a good show. It's a big, fun, positive event show. Every show is a big special event, and it's absolutely terrific. They have found people with the most astonishing vocal talents.
Yeah, where do they go
It's
to?
wonderful. Well, they're currently they're full on into the competition at the moment. But the winner will end up getting a contract with Universal Music. So hopefully it will stimulate a fabulously successful ongoing solo career for the person who actually emerges victorious from the show.
Like a Susan Boyle.
Well, like a Susan Boyle, but we don't really...
that lovely girl who won last month, the
Which one?
young girl. She did the Edith Piaf song.
Oh, yes. Oh, you're thinking of Rachel, who's still in the competition. She's wonderful.
Marvellous.
She's absolutely wonderful. She's the girl who has some impaired vision.
That's right,
And
yes.
she's from Adelaide. She's absolutely wonderful, that girl. And she's on Delta's team on The Voice. And she's just made so many viewers so emotional. So it's, hopefully she continues to go far in the competition.
Did you make a point in writing about Delta? And I think it was quite honest and not brutal at all, but just saying, look, don't just sit on the fence.
I did say that.
Do something, say something.
Yeah, yes, I did. I wanted her to be more herself and just be a little bit, not aggressive, but just have more of an opinion and not be perfect and not be, plastic and not be, and just not be a fence sitter. I just wanted to hear more of her voice and more of her opinions on the show. And now that we've moved into the live show part of the Voice, we're seeing that she's a lot more animated and she's a lot more active, and she is actually saying, I didn't like that performance, and she's saying to other people, I loved that performance. She's very, very moved by some performances and a little bit less impressed by others, and I just think it's fantastic that we're seeing her grow into that role.
What are we thinking at home? What are the favourites? What are the favourite judges? What are the favourite performers and the favourite shows in what we're talking about? 96900 693 96900 693. Now, would I be right in thinking that the grittiness and the truthfulness of Kyle Sandilands over the months has been tempered a little bit, and people are more wanting to be guided rather than shouted at?
Oh, I think people are always happy to be guided rather than shouted at. I think that era of just people judging as being rude for the sake of being rude is
you're
over.
Fat, or you're all that.
Yeah, that's over. I think we've had that. I think that's sort of shock TV, and I think people are bored with that. I think TV goes in cycles. That nasty element works. It has worked in the past. We've now moved through that. We're into a very positive stage of TV where people are being encouraged and supported as opposed to beaten down and humiliated. I think this is a good place that we're in at the moment.
Yes.
And I think also people like to see expert judges. I think Kyle has his place, and I think he's good in the Australia's Got Talent role that he has. But having said that, I love the fact that we've got, 4 genuine stars on The Voice, imparting real advice to the people coming up through the ranks.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we have seen her grow. I do agree that and I wrote this, I felt that she wasn't particularly strong and she wasn't very authentic when the show started. But I do have to say, she's definitely improved as it's gone on, and I think she's got to be given credit for that, because she definitely has adapted to the TV role that she's put herself into, and I reckon that's great. We're seeing her grow, and we're also seeing the contestants that she's mentoring grow as well. She has improved, she really has. But the thing about the show is that the show is allowing everybody to have an opinion, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. And the show's doing huge numbers for Channel 9. It's hitting around 2 million viewers every week that it's on, and that is great. That we're all having an opinion and we're all talking about it.
I
write for the Herald Sun, and
at any time. It used to be the Sunday Herald Sun.
I was on the Sunday Herald Sun for quite a while, but I've been on the Herald Sun working on the confidential pages, and I've worked for the Saturday paper with a column that's published each week there, and also writing during the week for the news pages.
You blasted the confidential, didn't you? You were the first one to write that double page.
Well, no. I moved on to the confidential pages after I was on the Sunday paper, the Sunday Herald Sun, for about 7 years, doing a big gossip column in the back pages of that particular paper, which was a wonderful experience. And I moved into Confidential, which is, again, a fantastic brand and a great part of the Herald Sun. And I'm now lucky that I'm working in the Saturday paper, which, again, is a super paper with a huge readership.
Huge readership.
You must have the best contactors book in the business.
Well, I've got your number, Phil, so I'm lucky.
3629, and we've got some calls here for Fiona. Phil, Paula at Geelong.
Yes, hello everyone, hello Fiona. I have to go into bat for Delta. I feel that people judge her harshly because she's so beautiful, she's sort of without fault, and I have this awful feeling that in our society, if Delta had a sleeve full of tattoos, if she had a nose piercing and an eyebrow piercing and this sort of thing, I think we'd all be saying how cool she is.
I don't think we're ever going to get Delta having a tattoo, and I think that's good. I think she represents a really lovely, positive image. I think her image is gorgeous, but I think TV is a skill that, and I'm sure she would agree with this, that moving into that role, it was a very, very new world for her to move into, and it's just taken her a little while to adapt. But as I was saying earlier, she definitely has stepped up. As that show has progressed, she definitely has stepped up.
Well, I'd wonder who would do a better job, and who we have in Australian music of a female who would be as talented and B, have international success. There aren't too many that I can think of really who would be able to take over that position. Is there anyone that you would suggest? The only person I can think of who's got the same sort of talent would be a Vanessa Amorosi, or you'd look at an Olivia Newton-John, but whether she would commit to something like that, I don't think Kylie, with all her success, I don't think she'd have the vocal abilities to match it with some of these contestants.
I think Tina Arena is fantastic.
Oh, Tina Arena would be good.
And she's been doing Channel 10. She did Young Talent Time on Channel 10, and it was a show that was pitched much younger than The Voice. The Voice is, looking for adult contestants, and I just think Tina would fit perfectly into something like The Voice, because Tina Arena has got the voice.
She has got the voice, and she's in a similar vein to a Delta, I think, but she's a little bit older. So I think, Delta's so young, and every time I pick up a newspaper, I hear people picking on her, and I think I just want to give her a big cuddle and say, just keep doing what you're doing. I think she's incredibly talented, and we should be proud of her.
She's got her album coming out soon, so make sure you buy it.
I will. I will.
Thank you, Paula.
Now, speaking of Tina Arena,
thanks, Paula.
What's the future of Young Talent Time? It got off to a shaky start, didn't it?
This series of the new Young Talent Time has wrapped, and Channel 10 is yet to make a decision as to whether or not they'll bring back a second series.
Did they move it from Sunday to Friday?
They did. They shifted it around in the schedule a little bit, simply because it just wasn't holding its own in the Sunday night position.
I think it was too glitzy and too over-rehearsed.
I think there's too many talent shows.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
That could be one of the reasons. But you know what? I think it's 50-50 if Young Talent Time's going to be returning.
Yeah.
But having said that, I've got friends who have got young children, and they loved seeing that show on air because it was great positive entertainment for the young kids. They felt that they could pop them in front of the telly and just know that they were going to see something really delightful and really lovely and really positive.
Donna at Aspendale Gardens, good evening, and thank you for ringing us tonight, Donna.
Good evening to you both. Just a bit of a change of step here from the music shows. I was just wondering when we were all going to learn from our mistakes and take shows like Neighbours and Home and Away off the TV. We wonder why our children are the way they are, and sometimes I just don't understand why shows like this continue.
Well, both of those shows have been around for a long, long time, Donna, and I think the easiest answer to your question is there's obviously an audience that's there for them, and if you do not like them, vote with your TV remote control and switch them off.
Oh, I did. My children are 21 now, and they were banned from watching them because the morals were not what I reinforced at home. But I'm more concerned about the generation now that don't have parents in control of remote controls. Most of the kids have got a TV in their room.
Yeah, I know.
And what's being portrayed, monkey see, monkey do, and it worries me.
Well, as a grandfather, you can imagine how I'd be concerned about these young ones coming up in my family.
Absolutely.
But you see, if it's not Neighbours or Home and Away, it's a video game over at their mate's place that they're watching every Saturday. You can't control it. It's trying to stop the damn wall.
Yeah. I think, you hear so many people say we worry about society and everything, but we are society.
Exactly,
And when we let ratings determine what we consider acceptable and unacceptable, then I think sometimes we only end up having ourselves to blame.
Well, Donna, you'll be happy to know that the viewer numbers with Neighbours have been falling for the last few years, so perhaps a few people are taking your thoughts on board and switching off.
Well, I hope so.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, you've got high principles.
Thank you very much.
Good night, Donna.
Good night, Donna. Kate at Malvern. Hello, Kate. Oh, Luke is there.
Yeah, hi, Luke. Fiona Byrne is here from the Herald Sun.
Hi, Luke. How are you?
He's speaking.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so I just a bit of rough reception. I'm back now. I just wanted to add on to that lady talking about Home and Away. Like, I couldn't agree more. I think they talk about banning violent video games and all that kind of stuff, which, like, a lot of girls and boys that are young, they watch that junk and they feel like they have to fill their lives with drama to fill out whatever that is they're watching,
That's right.
Well, I think it's one of those shows that it's actually on in a fairly early time slot, Home and Away in particular. So they have to be pretty careful what they put to air.
In actual fact, it's not a bad role model, those characters in.
Well, to be honest with you, Bruce, I don't know that we should be basing our. I don't know that role models are TV characters that are created by a writer's room.
I don't mean.
So I think you've got to.
I'm saying the storylines are not.
Some are a little bit saucier than others,
yes.
But most of them aren't too salacious. And again, I honestly say, if you do not like a show, no one is sitting you in front of a television and forcing you to watch it. Switch off or switch over. That's my advice.
Yeah.
And. Or else ring in and voice your issues with us or write to the Herald Sun.
Jeff at Bamburgh. Hello, Jeff. Thanks for ringing.
G'day, boys. How are you all?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, Fiona's here too.
Hi, Jeff.
Yes, Fiona. Look, Bruce, I heard what you said about the damn wall before, but the parents are the parents of the kids. Get them out playing sport, football. My grandkids go football, swimming, the whole lot.
Yes.
And they're controlled by their parents about what they watch on computers and television, the whole lot.
Yeah.
That's the trouble with a lot of people today, because the parents are not taking enough control.
Jeff, I think in this day and age where we've got so much, there's so much on computers and there's so many TVs around us and there's so many opportunities to sit on your bottom and just watch something that's been beamed into your house. It's more important than ever to have that time where you switch off and you go out and you be active and do something. Just get outside and do something. And I couldn't agree more. It's so important in this day and age to encourage people to do that.
It's absolutely right.
All right, Jeff. Good point, you mate.
Thank you, Jeff.
Goodbye.
18 to 9. There was an article in the Green Guide today, I think Debbie Inker was writing it, about the ABC and how the changing figures and ratings and attraction of what was in Gordon Street tonight, Spicks and Specks, the Andrew Denton, I don't know...
Randling.
No, one before that.
Enough Rope.
Enough Rope.
Yes.
Was huge. They're basking in this great success. And now it's about half the figures, even Randling, is it?
Randling is Andrew Denton's new program, and it has had a lot of publicity, but just hasn't quite found its mark just
but
yet.
Most of them have dived, which a month or a year ago couldn't get enough of.
It is interesting. I think as I said, we go in cycles, and one thing that has really changed TV in the last few months is The Voice. It really has just brought so much interest and focus on Channel 9 that people have tuned in, they've watched it, they've engaged with it, and they have been stuck with 9 to see what's on throughout the rest of the week, and it's really helped Channel 9's overall ratings figures. Yeah. But viewers have to come from somewhere, and it seems like a lot of people have opted to swap stations on various nights to support different shows, and I think the ABC's actually been the loser in many respects to that.
And neither of you have mentioned cable. We shouldn't overlook them. I mean, they account for 30% of viewers now.
And yes, and of course, Foxtel in particular, they've got some fabulous shows out there, and they do put things out in the market that probably wouldn't have a viable commercial audience on a Channel 9 or a Channel 7 or a Channel 10, but there's plenty of choice out there.
Well, I mightn't be a good example, but apart from watching Peter Hitchener's news every night, that's the only free-to-air television I watch all week. The rest is all Foxtel cable.
Oh, wow, really?
All my needs are there.
It's good, though.
Hello to Peter Mitchell. It's 16 to 9. Now, we've talked about all this reality television and all the talent shows, but far and above and head and shoulders above them all, to my mind, was Downton Abbey.
Loved it.
The last time we spoke to you, you were in England, and you were doing a tour of the house.
I was so lucky. I was really super lucky. Channel 7 organised for me to go out onto the set of Downton Abbey and do some interviews and spend a day with the actors while they were filming. Wonderful experience. I was incredibly grateful, and it is a marvellous show. I'm so thrilled that the second series is now on air on Channel 7 on Sunday nights. Wonderful show. And there's just some of those little fabulous special moments that you remember. I went out to Highclere Castle, which is the big house that the actual show is set in, and watched them filming a lovely dinner scene, and spent time talking to the girls who play the three daughters in the show. I didn't get the chance to speak to Maggie Smith because she's not really that warm and friendly towards journalists.
Wasn't she? You passed her in the corridor.
I did. We stared each other down in a corridor, and I stepped sideways to allow her through. But it's a terrific show, and as I said, it's back on air on Channel 7. The second series, I think, is as strong as the first series, and it's great.
The father's a great character.
I did. Hugh Bonneville plays Lord Grantham, and he is just as delightful and as elegant and as charming in real life as he is in that character that he plays.
Beautiful character. And the head butler is so
Carson, he wasn't there. Good. The day that I was on set, he wasn't filming, so he was away that day. Oh. But no, it was just a great experience.
And speaking of Britain, there's this, I do remember this, A Queen is Crowned, which is coming to the Palace Ballroom. Now, this was the official coronation film, I'm sure, part of it, that came out in 1953.
Yes, it was at the Athenaeum a year later.
You've got to remember, everyone, that we had no television in those days, and the only outlet was our hourly film shows.
That's right.
That went for an hour in Swanston Street and Collins Street, and part of that was the coronation, so that was our only outlet to see the coronation of the Queen.
I will go and see that. I think that looks like a fantastic piece of... It's really newsreel, isn't it?
Yes,
it's terrific.
It's on at the Dendy, the Palace Ballroom and the Dendy Brighton.
Oh, yes, that's historically fascinating.
The Queen is Crowned, a documentary debut on the coronation.
Of course, this is the year of her Diamond Jubilee, so there's so much going on, particularly over in London, celebrating Queen Elizabeth's milestone.
Well, did you see the Chelsea Garden show? show.
Yes, I
and she came along and they've got corgis. They've got little bushes in the shape of corgis and palaces, and it's magnificent.
Actually, I hear that Fleming's Nursery from Melbourne has once again done extremely well over at the Chelsea Flower Show.
Always do, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They're very, very talented.
Yeah. Ian in Geelong has joined us and is on Nightline with us now.
Hello, Bruce, Fiona and Phil.
Hi, Ian.
Anna, how are you going?
Very well, thank you.
Oh, good. I just wanted to ask you a question about, with a view to a current affair that was on tonight, checkbook journalism, and just how far do you go with that? Referring to morals and things like that, because they're trying to get a prostitute to come on to talk about Craig Thompson. I think, we're getting to the stage now with Craig Thompson where it's getting like the pack mentality. We're just, out to get this man any way we can. I mean, he's entitled to the presumption of innocence, and sometimes, you hear Parliament and you see what they're trying to do on a current affair tonight, and it reminds me of one of those documentaries of Richard Attenborough where you've got a wounded animal and you've got a pack of hyenas going around trying to get at it. And I think you have to draw a line in the sand somewhere else. It's just getting ridiculous.
That was an interesting story tonight, wasn't it, where A Current Affair really had to go on the front foot and explain the background to that story, because there's been a lot of conversation about the interview that they've done with this woman, who they haven't named. Look, I think each story you have to take it on its merits. They haven't played any of that interview yet, and we don't even know if they are going to play it, but it's certainly become a talking point. And this Craig Thompson saga just keeps dragging on. It's just, it's really, you sort of wonder where it is going to end, because it seems to be a story full of twists and turns and strange claims.
But you see, checkbook journalism, it was ever thus. It's always been there, hasn't it? From the great bookie robbery, the what's his name, Biggs.
Yes,
right through.
It's certainly not a new thing to be paying someone for a story. Having said that, newspapers don't do it. It's more of the magazine market that often pays to secure an exclusive, and certainly there has been money that's exchanged hands for TV interviews over the years, and much of it is simply to guarantee an exclusive. That's what it's all about. It's to encourage someone not to go and speak to another outlet.
That's right.
So it's not something that's been invented this week. That's what I would say about it.
Yeah.
Right, Ian?
Well, I just wanted to say that I just hope it doesn't end up in tears, because if you've been watching Craig Thompson this week, I think the man is on the verge of a breakdown, and I really hope that one day we don't all wake up in the morning and hear that he's committed suicide or something like that, and then, what about the repercussions of it all, and that's what I don't like.
Yeah, it's all very ugly from both sides.
It is, Phil, you're dead right, and there should be, some moral standard, otherwise, we're all becoming animals ourselves,
and just baying for blood, aren't we?
That's exactly right, it's terrible.
All right, Ian.
Mind you, this Fair Work Australia inquiry's taken 3 to 4 years.
It has been going.
I think we've all had enough.
And not just for him, but it's just been an exhaustive look at that department.
The inquiry into 9/11 in New York, that was all folded up within 2 years.
I want to talk about Schapelle Corby and what reaction should be when she is released and comes back to Australia. What if the checkbooks are out, and if that's allowable. It's 3 minutes to 9. You'll be off to Annie, I would think.
Next week, Tuesday.
Opening night Tuesday.
Isn't that going to be terrific? Now, I heard a rumour that Annie actually may be your favourite stage musical.
Well, certainly that and Oliver, neck and neck. I love them both. Every song is memorable.
I went to the State of Origin match here in Melbourne last night. It's the first time I've ever been to a State of Origin game, and I'm so glad I went because I had the most super time. But one of the oddest things I saw at Etihad Stadium last night was one of the young girls from Annie actually coming out and singing the national anthem. I thought it was the strangest mix.
Oh, yes. I think Darren Hinch replayed it, didn't he, this afternoon, and made some comment about it as to whether it was in tune or she changed the lyrics, I think.
Well, it just seemed like a strange fit because, it was a very adult crowd at a very adult game.
It's obviously to promote the show.
It was to promote the show. But I don't know how many people at the State of Origin match who've flown in from interstate to see the game would be here in Melbourne to stay on and watch the show.
Was she dressed as Annie?
Yes, she was. With the red wig and everything.
What's Alan Jones's workload going to be like?
Well, Well, he's going to be doing Annie.
Yeah, I know. Well, Franklin Delano Roosevelt at night, and then 5 o'clock in the morning.
And then he'll be broadcasting out of Melbourne.
Yeah.
He'll be a busy man.
Yeah, certainly. No, we wish them well. I think it'll be in for a good run. Not a long run, but it'll be.
I think it's a 12-week run, and I have to say, having great big shows coming to Melbourne is fabulous for this town.
It is really great.
Yeah,
and fabulous to have you in here tonight too, Fiona.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Phil. I've really enjoyed being in here tonight and seeing you both.
Are you going to Moonshadow on Thursday night, the Cat Stevens show?
I'm not sure yet. I may not. I'm a busy girl.
You've got lovely soft hands.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Okay, Fiona. See you sometime soon. This is the best of the lot.
Home to Melbourne's own.